The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched across 3 kilometers of polished obsidian, its vaulted ceiling displaying a holographic map of the known universe. Representatives from 47 species sat in their designated spheres, their forms ranging from gaseous clouds to crystalline structures. At the center podium stood Annie Chen, Earth's diplomatic envoy. Her jaw clenched as the council's derision echoed through the chamber. Preposterous, bellowed Verthuk, the Krillian supremacy's representative, his 6 eyes gleaming with contempt. Humanity wishes to refuse our generous offer? You would decline the privilege of serving the council. Annie's hands remained steady at her sides, though her knuckles had gone white. For 3 generations, humanity had sought membership in the Galactic Council, believing it would elevate Earth from a backwater planet to a respected voice in cosmic affairs. They had finally been granted an audience only to discover the Council's true offer: servitude, not partnership. Ambassador Verthuk, Annie said, her voice carrying across the vast chamber without amplification. Humanity respectfully declines to become a client species. We seek mutual cooperation, not subjugation. A ripple of what might have been laughter or its alien equivalent swept through the assembly. The Eldrani representative, a being of pure energy contained within a magnetic field, pulsed with amusement. Cooperation? From a species barely 3 centuries into space travel. You have nothing we need, humans. Your technology is primitive. Your worlds are few. You offer nothing except labor for our expansions. Back on Earth, in the United Nations Space Command headquarters, Massey Rodriguez watched the transmission with growing fury. As humanity's chief military strategist, he had advised against this diplomatic mission from the start. He'd studied the Council's history, decoded their patterns. Every species they welcomed became either servants or disappeared entirely from galactic records. She's going to do it, Massey muttered to his second-in-command. She's going to walk away. On the view screen, Annie straightened her spine. Then we have nothing further to discuss. The chamber fell silent. In 3,000 years of Galactic Council history, no species had ever rejected their offer. Fear kept most in line. The Council controlled the hyperlane networks, the trade routes, the very infrastructure of galactic civilization. To refuse them meant isolation. You cannot be serious, Verthuk said, his translator struggling to convey his disbelief. Without access to our networks, humanity will be stranded in your corner of space. Your colonies will wither. Your people will stagnate. Annie smiled, a cold, calculated expression that Massey had seen her use during poker games in the academy. Ambassador, humanity didn't reach the stars by waiting for permission. We certainly won't stay here begging for scraps. She turned and walked toward the exit, her footsteps impossibly loud in the stunned silence. Wait. The word came from Councillor Ixara, an ancient being whose species had helped found the Council millennia ago. You doom your people to obscurity, to irrelevance. Annie paused at the threshold. Perhaps, or perhaps we'll build something better. Alone, if necessary. The transmission ended. The Galactic Council did indeed scoff. For the first year after humanity's departure, they treated it as a temporary tantrum. Earth would return, desperate and submissive. Instead, something unprecedented occurred. Humanity stopped trying to join galactic civilization. They stopped seeking approval. They built. Massey coordinated the greatest mobilization in human history. Without access to Council hyperlanes, humanity couldn't rely on their infrastructure, so they invented their own. The quantum fold drive, born from desperate necessity, allowed ships to bypass traditional spacetime constraints entirely. It was crude, dangerous, and occasionally catastrophic, but it was theirs. Annie, meanwhile, did something the Council never anticipated. She began reaching out to the species the Council had forgotten. The minor civilizations too small to matter, the colonies too remote to exploit, the outcasts who'd been deemed unworthy. She offered them something the Council never had: partnership without strings. We're not strong enough to stand alone, Annie told Massey during a late-night planning session in the orbital station. Humanity had built beyond Neptune, but together, we might be something new. The coalition of free worlds began as a joke among Council members. 12 species, including humanity, pooling their meager resources. They'd collapse within a decade, the Council predicted. 20 years later, the coalition had grown to 43 members. Their combined technology shared freely, improved collectively had begun surpassing Council standards. Their quantum fold network, dangerous as it was, connected systems the Council had never bothered to reach. 50 years later, Verthic stood before the Galactic Council, no longer smug. The Coalition controls 17% of mapped space. Their trade routes bypass our networks entirely. 3 of our client species have requested release to join them. Impossible, Councillor Ixara said. But uncertainty crept into the ancient being's voice. They're calling it the Free Space Charter. Verthic continued. Any species can join. No servitude, no tribute, just mutual cooperation and shared advancement. Any Chen, now gray-haired and decorated with medals from a dozen species, stood at the edge of Coalition space, watching a new member's celebration. Massey, semi-retired but still advising, stood beside her. The Council sent another message. Massey said, "They want to negotiate. They're offering humanity a seat, a real one this time, with full voting rights." Any watched the fireworks, actual fireworks, a human tradition the Coalition had adopted enthusiastically. "What did you tell them?" "I told them humanity wasn't interested." Massey grinned. "But the Coalition might accept an application for membership if they meet our standards." Any laughed genuinely, freely. "We walked away from an empire and built a community instead. I think we chose correctly." In the darkness of space, humanity's lights shone brighter than ever before, not because they'd won the approval of the powerful, but because they'd had the courage to walk away and build something worth staying for. The Galactic Council had scoffed. Humanity hadn't looked back.